let's step into Nigeria's politics, where the political journey into general elections early 2023 has entered another phase. A phase of active political campaigns by the various parties and contenders for the highest office of the president. It is also a season of electoral promises made by words of mouth and via published manifestos. Our Rice political editor, Sumner Sambo, is at the heart of the political season, and he joins me now to discuss some of the latest developments on the road to 2023. Thank you, Sumner. Good evening. Great to have you.
Thank you so much, Bosen, and good evening, viewers.
Great. Thank you so much. Let me ask you, it's been quite some time I touched base with you to find out what's good on the political circuit, and I said we're going to be doing that all the way through to the elections next year. So I'm asking you, how are things shaping up among the leading political parties and their candidates on the road to 2023?
Well, things are beginning to pick up very well. We've seen two of the major political parties releasing their manifestos. The PDP's presidential candidate, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, had provided an abridged version of his manifesto, but we've seen the All Progressives Congress providing its full version of its own manifesto on what it intends to do. We are still awaiting that of the Labour Party, which we'll learn may eventually happen this week, and of course that of the New Nigeria People's Party, which is like the fourth leg of the much expected political parties that are expected to make an impact in the election. Then that of the Social Democratic Party and then the All Progressives Grand Alliance, ABGA, are all there. So, I mean, we've heard other political parties saying one or two things, but the focus is on the big 4 or 5 that may actually make impact in the 2023 polls. And of course, those political parties remain the governing All Progressives Congress, the main opposition People's Democratic Party, Labour Party, the NMPP, the Social Democratic Party, and of course, the All Progressives Grand Alliance, ABGA.
Okay, but what are you learning from the various manifestos being published by this candidate? Let's start in alphabetical order, the APC.
Thank you so much. I think one of the very interesting things, submissions that I've seen in that of the APC, it's his proposals to remove all the VIPs protection units from the police to the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps. And it's saying that the NSCDC has sort of deviated from its primary role of safeguarding national assets. And so the police is also going to be freed from the protection of national assets, and the Civil Defense Corps will be given the full powers to be able to engage in protecting the critical assets of the nation when it comes to infrastructure. And of course, you know, the APC is very strong on infrastructure. They've said that they are going to do so much about developing the country's infrastructure in addition to what President Muhammadu Buhari's government has done. And then we've seen the very ambitious the GDP growth that they are pointing at. I mean, if you see 10% GDP growth that's been targeted between now and 2027, if the APC gets into power, I mean, sometimes it may want to make you feel like you should laugh it out, but well, it's left for us to see how the APC is going to do that, because I mean that will seem too overambitious. And then you look at some of the proposals they have, like for example, an anti-terrorist vanguard that they'll put in place to ensure that, the focus on fighting terrorism is there. And then, of course, continuing with the social investment programs of this government is something that I think was put in there to sort of, make it align with what this current APC-led federal administration is doing. And then, of course, you know that this manifesto by the APC is a carryover from what they did in 2015 and 2019. Some have also accused the APC of pilfering from the agenda of the late Moshood Kashima Olawale, popularly known as MKO Abiola, during his Hope 93 manifesto and campaign. And of course, you know that it's been established that he won the election, but he was never declared actual winner. So one of the media spokesmen during that time has accused the Tinubu political camp of, pilfering from some of those things, although the APC has denied. But I mean, some of the things contained in the manifesto look very, very ambitious.
Well, Sumner, I'm not trying to think so, but if it's a good idea, why let a good idea go to waste? But that's just by the way. Let's talk about the Labour Party and its candidate Peter Obi. He said not to have released a formal document or a manifesto. He says he's going to release something tomorrow. Can we take what he said so far as a form of manifesto, or does it have to come in black and white on a paper before we can say this is what Peter Obi will do, these are his promises, these are his pledges? How do you respond?
Well, Peter Obi has been helping to, strengthen our belief in the electoral system once again. And if you look at the political space with some of these legacy politicians like Atiku Abubakar and then Bola Tinubu still in the game, you sometimes, a lot of citizens may want to, in one way or the other, feel that, look, isn't there something fresh in the polity other than these people who have always been there? So the entry of Peter Obi, the entry of people like Rabi Musa Kwankwaso has given fillip to the electoral process and some believability in certain quarters that for the first time in Nigeria's electoral process, we may actually head towards a rerun. But coming back to a runoff, so to say, coming back to your question now, Peter Obi has been saying a lot of things that are exciting to a lot of Nigerians. People want to listen to him, but we cannot say that whatever he's saying right now is a manifesto until we're able to see it in black and white. But is he exciting voters? Yes, I can tell you. I mean, sometimes I feel happy myself that he's given the legacy politicians a good fight. I mean, because, if you see how the PDP and APC have always been playing this political game, you see that it's a convergence of the conservatives and the progressives on one front. Now, the APC, which used to be the progressives of those days, has eventually become the conservatives of today because they are the governing party. And so some of the things that they told Nigerians to excite them in 2015, they are shying away from them. The issues of restructuring, what happened to the National Aerofair Restructuring Committee and its recommendations, for example. The APC has not been able to answer that. Are there areas that the Peter Obi-led Labour Party, is thinking of venturing into? Yes, I can tell you that they are saying that they will reform the system of governance because the cost of governance is just too much. Peter Obi is also talking about the issues of the vast arable lands that we have. He was in Kaduna the other day where he was telling Northerners how it's important for the economy of Nigeria to be revamped using agriculture, giving examples of countries like Netherlands, countries like Morocco and all of that. And these are exciting a lot of voters because, why should we be having those huge arable lands, vast arable lands everywhere, and we're not putting so much use to them? On the issues of security, well, he has been saying that he won't mention what exactly he intends to do. And that's where I really fault him, because if he wants to secure Nigerians, he has to let Nigerians know how he must do that. I know that there's some gray areas that you mustn't touch when you're talking about security. But look at the APC, for example. They have said that they are going to ensure that the civil defense is pushed into protecting national infrastructure, is pushed more into VIP protection. They are going to have a sort of like a pseudo-national guard system that will tackle terrorism. We need to hear those kind of policies from him. And then in terms of the economy too, how do you intend to lift more people out of poverty? It's not just good enough to say you need more, you take more people or take the economy away from consumption to production. We need to see the steps. Like, for example, the APC has outlined, a GDP growth of 10% per annum, which is very, very overambitious. Now, can the Labour Party also tell us what ratio it will be having per year, so that we'll be able to understand what that stands for? And then look at the issues of corruption. Yes, Peter Obi has been talking so much about the issue of fighting corruption. Now, we need to look at the steps that will be taken. This government, for example, President Muhammadu Buhari, has passed the Process of Crime bill and all of that. And then you see some other ones that have been passed by the government in its steps to establish its space in the fight against corruption. So, okay. But the Labour Party owes us those institutions that will put in place, because we don't want cosmetic approach to fighting corruption. We don't want cosmetic approach, for example, to the issues of food security. What's the national food security strategy? We hope to see that when the Labour Party manifesto comes into play. But I can tell you that what they've been telling us for now is so exciting. It's a welcome development to have such a new political party that is in less than 6 months. Not new political party, so to say, but a new candidate who is giving fillip to an old political party that's just been lying dormant and exciting voters. And we hope that when his manifesto comes out,
yes,
like he has said, it's 95% under completion at the moment. When it comes out,
give me a
want to see something that hits at what economists, policy strategists, and analysts will be able to say, yes,
Sumner,
this looks like something that wants to challenge the status quo.
Peter Obi says his manifesto is still work in progress. That's understandable. So that will put that on the table. Our last political editor, Sumner Sambo, has been chatting to me about the season of manifestos on the road to Nigeria's general elections in the first quarter of 2023. Sumner, thank you. We'll just ask my last question was about the People's Democratic Party and its flag bearer, Atiku Abubakar. What's on this political manifesto and whatever he's been saying in talking about and all of that, the manifesto, does it reflect or will it reflect the past administrations of the PDP in the country? Or is this going to be a departure?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a continuation of the PDP's previous policies of expanding the economy. It will play big in terms of privatization of national assets. Atiku Abubakar is also wooing the young people in the country, saying that, look, after his government is going to hand over to a young person, and then he's been criticizing the economic policies of the APC-led federal government, promising a stimulus, an economic stimulus that will help revamp the economy if it gets into power. And he's saying that in terms of national security, he's going to ensure that he harnesses the strength of the Nigerian military to be able to crush any terrorism that will be arising. And then, of course, the issues of banditry in the north will be altered and finally crushed. But if you look at some of the issues being brought in place by Atiku Abubakar, you find out that there's not so much cohesion, especially in terms of national infrastructure. I think that since the APC is playing big in terms of national infrastructure, and Tinubu is saying that he's going to continue to expand the country's infrastructure just like Buhari has done, and then Tinubu is planning to spend big, irrespective of whether it will even lead into hyperinflation. I haven't heard so much from Atiku Abubakar on what he intends to do in that aspect. What is his idea in terms of infrastructure? Are we going to have a situation whereby when the Labour Party releases its own manifesto, it won't be something that it's more of like very close to what the PDP had been saying in its previous campaigns in 2015, 2019, and other years, where it keeps talking about issues of subsidy and dancing around it. You can see that even Peter Obi, who is being seen as a novel politician, someone who has a capacity to play around issues and that may gain some level of popularity if he wants to remove fuel subsidy, he's being careful about it. But the issue of fuel subsidy removal is one that the PDP hasn't come out to fully tell us what it's going to do. If the APC is saying that it's going to terminate the issues of fuel subsidy in 2023, immediately the new government comes in. What is Atiku Abubakar's plan for subsidy? Okay, so we intend to, we hope to hear so much from that. Okay, and then, of course, the issues that are very, very critical is the issue of job creation. We need to hear more from Atiku Abubakar in terms of how many jobs that his plan can create for the country, and of course, how those jobs intend to be created, just like we have been criticizing the APC. When Tinubu says he's going to have 10% GDP growth, where is the money going to come from?
Okay, I understand. So we still have a few more manifestos that will be released. I'm just going to ask you one final question. Are these manifestos believable? Can the electorate take them to the bank as a guarantee? Are they believable? Or is just about sloganeering and getting everybody's ear tickled? What's your answer?
Well, Nigerians are really prepared this time around to listen to the candidates, because this is a succession presidency. We don't have an incumbent. The last time we had this sort of election where at least an incumbent will not be playing a critical role was in in 2007, I mean. And since then, we've always had an incumbent in one way or the other playing a critical role. And so Nigerians want to hear what the top 4 or 5 or 6 contenders have to say in terms of how to curb security, in terms of fighting corruption, in terms of job creation. A lot of people are poor. The economy is going down. How do we prevent the naira from getting to 1,000 naira to $1?
Okay, it could get worse than 1,000 and it could get better than where we are right now. But again, it's neither here nor there. But there's still a whole lot more manifestos being printed. So let's wait until the printing press give us some new documents to look at. Thank you, Sumner, Sambo, Rice Political Editor out of Abuja studios. Thank you so much tonight, bringing us up to speed on the political gathering.